Hello, what's going on, everyone? Phil here. Welcome to Ask the King. Welcome to the first ever episode of Ask the King to air here on DSPReacts. Okay, since I rebranded this channel about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I put a lot of variety of content on it, right? and thank you to those who have supported this channel, in the last month and a half. I really appreciate that. Ask the King is my bi-monthly Q&A show. It's been all over the place. It used to be on an old vlogging channel. It was on another vlogging channel. It was on DSP Gaming. Now it's here on DSPReacts, okay? So thank you to those who stood by this show. It's my legacy show that I've now been running for like 14 years or something crazy like that. This is episode 95 of Ask the King for March 31st, 2023. I'm going to split this into 3 parts. That'll all be on demand after the fact. However, I should make an announcement. This is the first episode of Ask the King on DSPReacts, and we're doing something new starting today. If you become a member of this channel, all right, a paid membership, you will have access to all of the archive streams immediately the moment that stream goes offline. It becomes members only. So members can watch things in their entirety. Everyone else, what I'm going to do is split up the parts to be like 1 part a day. So for example, today, Ask the King is going to be 3 parts. 1 part today, 1 part tomorrow, 1 part the next day. And so there's a benefit there. Get access to the content right away if you're a member, or I'll spread it out for slower uploads not to flood the channel if you are not a member, okay? So there you go. Something new to do. I hope this sounds good. And thank you for being here for Ask the King episode 95. For those who don't know how the show works, maybe you don't, maybe you're a newcomer to the channel in the last couple of months and you're curious, how does Ask the King work? Well, allow me to explain. This is a Q&A show where people post up questions all over the place. All right, first of all, I have a website, DSPgaming.com. People post up in a forum there. I obviously own various YouTube channels. DSP Gaming is my gaming channel. This React channel is for this kind of vlogging style stuff, reacting to content, etc. If you're a member of either channel, you get massive priority to get your questions answered on this show. In fact, no exaggeration, 2.5 pages of questions are for members. That's most of them. Seriously, there's almost no other questions. So it's pretty much almost a members only show at this point, but it works well that way. I love giving my members the priority because they're supporting me, okay? So that's another way. Become a member, get your questions answered on the show. If you're a patron of mine at patreon.com/darksidephil at the $20 or greater level, you also are guaranteed to get a question answered on the show. And therefore, we're going to have that as well. There's a patron who's going to get their question answered. So, many ways. Now, there's also Twitter. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Twitter's on the way out. It really is, okay? Twitter's falling apart ever since Elon Musk bought it. And now, this week, he's instituting tons of changes. He's taking away people's verified check marks if they don't pay. He's making it so that your Twitter doesn't show up at all unless you're a paid verification. I'm serious. You won't show up at anyone's feeds. He even made it, you can't even use Twitter polls if you're not verified. So at this point, I don't think there's a point to even, like, I'm gonna put stuff on Twitter moving forward. I'm gonna echo my schedule and stuff, but I'm not gonna be actively caring. Like today, I posted up on Twitter, hey, post up questions. I got like 12 troll idiots and like 2 legit questions. What's the point of using it, right? More than likely what we'll do is we're going to phase it out. Twitter probably won't be a part of the show anymore. It'll just be like people from the live stream asking questions. Okay, it is what it is. Times change. Twitter fell apart. Sorry about that. I used to have a Twitter link right here. And I was like, well, that's what happens. Times are changing. People ruin shit. And what can you do, right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. We have a lot of questions to get to. Now, if you like this kind of show, if you like the vlogging content, if you like Q&A, if you like reacts, if you like reviews, please support this channel in any way you can, all right? Great ways to support the channel, all right? Becoming a member or gifting some memberships to the community. Absolutely great way to support. I'm looking to maybe get 3 new members by the end of today. We actually already got one. Shout out to B-Boy Cyclone, who became a member this morning. I really appreciate that, B-Boy. That gets us up to 88. It would be great. We can maybe hit 90 members. That would be the most we've ever had. If we hit 90 members, that's a record. So maybe we could hit that by the end of today, okay? Outside of that, super chats, super stickers, tips, all greatly appreciated. This is my first actual stream of the day. No gameplay on my main stream today. It would be great if you guys could support it, and thank you in advance to anyone who does. Hey, if you're live here, even liking the stream helps. We try to get 100 likes on every stream. That would be amazing. That'd be great. Do a little celebratory bubble blow on full screen camera for a while. All right? Very silly. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being patient. Let us now begin with Ask the King. How does that sound? You ready to start? I'm ready to start. Let's do it. All right. So, we start off today with patron questions from Slayer. Slayer is an ongoing patron of mine. I really appreciate that, Slayer. He asks 2 questions. All right. So, they're completely unrelated, by the way. Let's see here. He says, the first question is, after watching the top 100 most viewed K-pop songs last month on Patreon and seeing the songs that are in the most viewed list, what do you think of songs in the list? Do you think they deserve to be highly watched, or some of them are too overrated and heavily watched by their fan base and the mainstream viewers? So he's been having me watch these countdowns of like the top 100 songs in a whole year, okay? And what I'm trying to do, I watch these countdowns and I'm trying to compare it to like pop music of the 1990s when I used to watch like MTV and they used to have like Total Request Live and stuff like that, right? What I'm noticing is these trends in the K-pop, they're kind of similar to trends you used to see back in the day in America, where you'll have certain songs that just seem to be more popular in line, and there's others that are kind of fringe songs, but somehow they make it to the top. Like, for example, almost all of them are a whole group, not a single person. It's usually a group of people, like 5 or more, right? Mostly it's all one gender, either all men or all women. It's not like, oh, mixed. Mixed is very rare in K-pop. Like, it's almost never men and women together in a group. And it always seems to be big choreographed videos, right? Elaborate sets, dancing, and stuff like that. There's some exceptions. There's a couple solo artists that are just doing more like almost like chill R&B stuff that, you know, used to also be popular in the US, but it seems like it's way less popular in K-pop. And also, like some hip-hop style stuff, like actual, like almost like rapping and stuff. And that's rare to see, but there's maybe 1 or 2 artists that stand out. Now, the weird thing to me is when I was watching these countdowns, I'd be like, why is this group in the top 10 3 times? And then I watch the people who are like in the bottom 50. You're like, people in the bottom 50 are like the same. There's not like the quality's better, the singing's better, nothing. It's almost identical. Why is this group in the top 10 and this other group in the bottom? And the way Slayer explained that to me, because he actually answered the question, was, you know, it's all about popularity. And they're just like in American music, and I'm sure worldwide, certain groups are the hype group at a time, and therefore get all the priority and get all the attention, while other groups kind of get swept under the rug. It's kind of not fair. Just because why are you Mr. BTS, right? For the biggest time, they were like the giant group that everyone talked about. I know for a fact BTS, I think we watched the countdown, they were still in the top 10 for one of their songs. Like, but why? Everyone else seems to be innovating, doing stuff better just because they're at the top. That's it, right? You stay at the top. You know, it's kind of like YouTube, I hate to say. On YouTube, once you're in that million bracket of subs and views, you kind of stay there for a long time. It's very hard for someone to get way up there in popularity and then all of a sudden just disappear. You just get kind of stuck up there forever, because once you have this certain viewer base, it just kind of keeps itself. You're popular for the sake of being popular, not because you're better than anybody else. So I'm definitely noticing that in the K-pop stuff. So his second question is unrelated. This is kind of interesting. He says, when you're exposed to watching videos, music, or movies that are not American made and from other countries, do you think you'll enjoy and probably continue to choose movies or shows that are not American made? For example, I know that some Korean dramas are very good writing and have good plot lines, but they can end up being a bit long. I'm wondering if such shows would be a possibility for DSPReact reviews in the future. It would be good if you give it a try. Thanks, and I hope to hear your thoughts on it. I am not opposed to watching non-English content. And I think it's what it is, really English spoken versus like countries where they don't speak English as the native language, probably dubbing or whatever, either or subtitles, right? I'm okay with that. I saw that movie Parasite a couple years ago. I loved it. I thought the movie was super good. And it was a social commentary. It was fascinating. It was good acting. Like, it was a really good movie. So I would like to be exposed maybe to more of that kind of stuff. The problem is, you don't really get that stuff prominently. Like, I have HBO Max right now. And when I open HBO Max, it's all English spoken content. Does HBO Max have non-English spoken content? Maybe. But I don't see it. I remember when I used to have Netflix, it was kind of the same thing. Where I know that there was tons of non-English content on there, but it was very hard to find. Like, it would always, I guess what it is whatever region you're in, it would push that content to the front. So if it's English spoken content, you're always going to see that content before you see the other content. Do you see? So unless these sites change the way that they operate, I think it's harder. It would have to be based more on recommendation, like viewer recommendation. Like, my viewers say, hey, there's this show. It's not English primarily spoken. You know, it's another language. Maybe you have to watch it with subtitles, but it's a really good show. And if you recommend it, maybe I would check it out. But it's hard for me to know what's worth watching. You know what I'm saying? I need your opinions, your feedback. But I'm not closed-minded. I've watched many, anime. I always prefer watching anime with subtitles as opposed to English spoken because I think it's better. You get the original voice acting or whatever. You get the more authentic feeling. Same thing. We play Yakuza games or like a Dragon games they're called now. Same thing. I'd much rather hear the Japanese with subtitles. You see? So there you go. Okay. So we're gonna head to the member questions now. People who are members here on DSP Reacts and also over on DSP Gaming and their questions. But before we do, I got a super chat here from Gloria saying, we already hit the hat goal. Let's go, team. Yes, for Ask the King, I always wear the cowboy hat. That's always been in effect ever since I started the show back in the day, way before we ever had a hat goal. However, what we do is, if I hit $100 in tips on this stream, which normally would be considered the hat goal, I'll put on a vest instead. All right? So we hit $100. You guys will vote on a vest for me to wear for the Ask the King show. Thanks to anyone who has already supported, and if anyone's considering it, thank you as well. Okay. So now we head into member questions. You ready? Our first member question is from Brad Buxer268. And he says the following. Here we go. I'm a well-known fighting game player with many notable top 8 placings. I'm indifferent to a lot of the criticisms and misconceptions around you. But honestly, it frustrates me when I see folks downplay your 4th place finish at EVO. I understand that the Super Turbo port was janky, but all competitors had that knowledge well in advance. Using that to diminish the work that you had put in or to suggest that you had a leg up is completely ignorant to the facts. How do you feel when people try to tear down the achievement? Were people back in the day as antagonistic about it as they are today? Do you think it's because it's become more harsh as your reputation has declined? Any other context you want to provide to help folks understand how significant the bracket was? Thanks, Phil. Good shit, and hope that you take a liking to Street Fighter 6. I guess we got to go through the story. Okay? So back in the day, I was a professional fighting game player to the capacity that you could be. You know, before Street Fighter 4 came out, there was no way to make a living playing fighting games at all. There was not prize pools that were worth enough money to make a living. Like, you would go to a tournament with 200 people, 300 people, you'd win the tournament and win like $600. Well, that's not enough to make a living, right? So that's how it was back then. Why? There was no sponsorship. It was all grassroots. It was all funding of the people entering the tournament. There was no additional pot bonuses, no nothing, no money to be made outside of that. So you took what you could get, right? It was a very different time back then, for sure. Now, there was a point where I was trying to be very competitive, and I was trying to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as my competitive game. And I started traveling the country in the early 2000s. It was the first half of the 2000s. I was actively traveling, playing, and trying to get better. Sadly, I never really reached any kind of great achievement in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Would I win my local tournaments in Connecticut and the like? Yes. But as soon as I stepped outside of that comfort zone and I went to like New York, New Jersey, maybe I would make like top 5, top 10. And that would be it. I would never really get any higher than that. I never would win a tournament, okay? But a game that I started playing was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Now, this is the original Street Fighter game. Street Fighter 2 was the first fighting game that became popular, and this was the final version of it that everyone considered the best, the most balanced, the most fun to play. But it was old. Even by the standards in the 2000s, it was an old game. It was from the early 2000s or the early 90s. So a game that's almost a decade old, people didn't really care about it that much. People cared more about the Alpha series, Street Fighter 3, and the Versus series. So it was kind of like the game you played as a fun, casual game, but no one really took it that seriously. So it was easy to jump in and try to learn, but it was hard to learn at a competitive level because there wasn't a lot of competition, quite frankly. Well, what ended up happening was over time that kind of changed. And as things got a little bit more played out in the fighting game community, because Capcom wasn't putting out new fighting games anymore. So essentially what happened was, instead of having new fighting games to play, it became the Big Four. So the Big Four were as follows: Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Capcom vs. SNK 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. If you were going to attend a Street Fighter tournament, those would be considered the Big Four games they would have that would bring butts to seats. Now, admittedly, Super Turbo was the one that had the least. It was the oldest game. It was the legacy game. The other games were more modernized, and people cared more about those, okay? So, that's kind of how it was in the early 2000s. Now, at one point, things weren't going so good for me, I'll be honest. money-wise, job-wise, and I was really trying to find some kind of meaning in my life, and the Street Fighter thing really wasn't working out. I was traveling, I was trying to get better, and I didn't have a good reputation in the Street Fighter community because I was an online shit talker. Everyone knew it. Anyone who knew me in person thought I was a nice, friendly guy and loved to hang out with me and play games with me. But online, I was the worst shit talker. And we've talked about this before. I actively regret that now, but back then it was just a thing. It was kind of like pro wrestling, where whoever talks the biggest, has the most feuds, is the person that gets the most notoriety in the community. It was stupid as shit, but that's how it was back then. Okay, very, very immature. So at one point, I was gonna go to Evo, and I didn't have any money. So the only way I could even go was to take out these loans against my credit cards, cash advances and shit. I didn't even have the money to do it. I just racked up all my credit cards to afford to go on this trip. And my focus was supposed to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But it just so happened that in other tournaments that I had been playing in the last year, I've been playing a lot of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I was learning the game. I was trying to get better at it. I was trying to play with various different characters, like DJ or Vega or Balrog. This was saying I was trying to learn a variety of characters, not just one. All right? And the thing is, back then, that wasn't common. A lot of people who played older games like that, they were one character focused, and so they had that one character who they would try to adapt to every situation. For me, I was trying to learn a variety so that I could apply it to any situation. I could adapt on the fly and switch characters if I needed to. So what ended up happening was, I went out, I had practiced to some extent for Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as much as I could on arcade cabinets and on the Dreamcast, but Super Turbo was an afterthought. It was a game I liked, and I wanted to play it, and I even had practiced a little bit on the version because they had announced the version for Evo, which was going to be the PlayStation 1 version. It was not going to be the arcade version, and that was a big reason for everyone to argue. I was one of them. I was against the conversion of fighting games from arcade perfect versions to the home consoles. Everyone knew home console versions of every game were inferior. Even the ones that were considered great conversions, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast, had differences from the arcade version. And a lot of people were very resistant to going from arcade to console at that time. Now, today, everyone plays everything on console. There's not even arcade versions of these games for the most part. But back then, it was a different story, okay? So, during that year, it was 2005, or was it 2004? I don't even remember anymore. I'm serious. I don't even remember anymore. I think it was 2005, okay? Basically, what happened was they decided they were going to do the PS1, PlayStation 1 version of Super Turbo. And a lot of people were putting up a stink. They're like, no, this version is not that good. It has a lot of issues. The character hitboxes are different. The damage scaling is different. It's just different. It doesn't play like the arcade version. It's inferior, and we shouldn't have it. Well, Evo stuck to their guns, said, no, we're using this no matter what, so it's this or nothing. So you're like, all right. So a lot of people said they weren't going to enter the tournament, and which was bullshit because most of them did. I think the only notable player who didn't enter Super Turbo that year was Alex Valle. Everyone else still entered. All the top players of Super Turbo still entered the tournament anyway, regardless of the fact that they knew the version wasn't arcade perfect and they didn't like it. They still entered it, okay? Now, I practiced, okay? I did. I practiced at home on the PS1 version. When I went to the tournament, I played casual play for 2 days before the tournament even started. I was there early, and I was playing against people on this PS1 version, trying to learn the differences. I learned that characters like Chun-Li and Vega were much better in this version than the arcade edition, like way better than they should have been. And other characters were far inferior. Like, I think Balrog was actually way inferior in the PS1 version. So, I learned the differences, all right? I played in that tournament, and that tournament was stacked. And I wasn't in some bracket where I didn't face good players. In one bracket that I was playing, I played, and this is going to be notable player names, you probably won't recognize a lot of them. Bob Painter, Jason Wilson, Mike Watson, and John Choi were all in my bracket, okay? And I beat them all. I beat every one of them in this tournament, back to back to back to back. Surprisingly enough, the one person that I lost to was another up-and-comer like me whose name was Bucktooth. He was a player from Texas and wasn't well known at the time for Super Turbo, and he was doing well just like me. Do you want to know why? Because he practiced on the PS1 version just like me. And he played Chun-Li and I played Vega. So we had learned the differences, okay? And because of that, we were doing well in the tournament while all the known players were choking and getting bodied by everybody else. All right. So the one person I lose to is another up and comer. I get knocked into the losers bracket. I fight my way out of the losers bracket into the top 8, which is it's so hard to do. You can't lose again. You lose another time, you're out of the tournament. And I'm sticking in there. I'm fighting it out. And the game is different. It's a little wonky. It's just weird. Okay. And finally I get to top 8. And even in top 8, it's a tough ride. I think I had to play NKI, who again is a top-notch Chun-Li player. And I ended up beating him in the top 8. And now it's just me and 3 Japanese players. That's it. And I ended up playing a mirror match against Tokido. It's a close match. I actually, for the first time ever in years, I watched the matches back recently because I found them on YouTube. And they were close. It was like he wins a round, I win a round, close final match. He wins a round, I win a round, close final match. They were real close. And the thing is, I hadn't barely played any Vega mirror matches back then. So I went into there with almost no knowledge. I was trying to learn on the fly how to play this matchup, not knowing. And the fact that I even won a round is something special, But he beat me. And so I got 4th place, and all the other Americans were below me. I was the highest ranked American that year, and a lot of people hated that. Because, again, I was known as the big shit talker in the Street Fighter community. No one liked me. Well, I'll take that back. People who knew me in person liked me. People who, knew me only online hated me because I was an online asshole, okay? So knowing that I was an online asshole, people didn't want, we don't want this guy saying he's the best Super Turbo player. And I continued to talk shit. Even after that tournament, I continued to say I was the best, highest placing Super Turbo player of the year. I'm the best American in Super Turbo this year. I did it on purpose because I knew every little time that I said something like that online, it pissed off these elitist douchebags who thought that they were so good and their shit didn't stink and they were the best. And God forbid that someone beat them in a tournament. I was beating some of these people in the tournament and they wouldn't give me respect. They're like, that didn't count. That's literally what happened. I get 4th place at that tournament. After the tournament's over, Alex Valle demands that we have an arcade cabinet after hours tournament in the middle of the night in a hotel room to determine the real Super Turbo champion for that year. He calls it the secret tournament, and then he says that was the real one. That's the one that really counted. I lost because I've been playing all day. I played longer than anyone else, playing all these other matches, fighting against the Japanese. I was beat, and they wanted me in there. I said, all right, fine, I'll come. And I lost, and I went out in 2. I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'm fucking tired, and I went back to my room. But according to them, that was the real tournament. Right? That's how salty they were about all having been beaten in this tournament. So back then, the reason that people didn't want to give me recognition was because I was a big shit talker. Now, here's what happened. In the years that followed, I backed my shit up. It wasn't like, this was a one and done flash in the pan. I was a top player of Super Turbo, every version, because there were multiple versions that were played. The next year, it was Anniversary Edition, the one that we just played in Capcom Fighting Collection recently. That was the one that was the tournament level game. I was winning numerous tournaments all over the East Coast, the West Coast. Everywhere I went, I was winning tournaments in this game. Okay? The next year, there was another version of Super Turbo that was on PS2. I was winning tournaments in that game. It's all well documented that I was a top Super Turbo player for several years. There was one year I was going to every EVO qualifier tournament because there was regional ones. East Coast, West Coast, South, North. I went to every one, and I won or qualified to be in the finals like 5 times. I would have been in the final bracket for Super Turbo like 5 spaces. They had to give them away to other people who placed lower than me because I was doing so well that year. I was taking up all the spaces at EVO. Okay? All this is well documented. It's factual. It happened. But in the eyes of the internet, Phil only ever placed once ever at EVO. It was terrible placing, 4th place, and that's what he thinks is like, that's it. No, it's bullshit. That's not true at all. It's completely untrue. I was actually placing for years and years after that. I was known as a top-ranked player, and I cut out the online bullshit. I stopped talking shit. And because I stopped talking shit online, people started to respect me more. I started meeting people from all over the country. They were happy to have DSP come to their tournament. I was a welcomed guest when I went down to Texas and other places. They liked having me there. All right? So it was a little different. I changed my tune after realizing, man, this whole shit talk thing is stupid. I'm going to stop. And I started becoming more respected. Then I started running tournaments. I ran ECC, the East Coast Championships, one year, along with Josh Wigfall from New York City. We co-ran it. And I was respected as a tournament organizer. In New York City, I was running multiple tournaments. Whenever any tournament I went to, I was asked to volunteer and try to help run the tournament because they knew how well of a job I did. Okay? So I went from being like the black sheep shit talker of the Street Fighter community, within 3 years, I was like well known and respected, and people were happy to have me as a participant and a guest in a tournament. Okay. So what happened? Well, in 2007, I quit. I had a back injury, a very severe lower back injury. My disc was herniated very badly to the point where I couldn't really travel anymore. And being that I couldn't travel, I was always the person who would drive or fly to the tournament. It was too hard for me to get around. You know, it was too much of a hassle. It was too much pain. And no one else was really doing this stuff. Everyone else was like, you know, they were relying on me to drive to tournaments and shit. So to some extent, when I stopped driving, a lot of people stopped going to tournaments just altogether. Okay? So basically I was like, well, it is what it is. And I'm just going to retire. And I did. And that's when I got more into console gaming. And I started playing more, you know, got into like GTA 4, Mass Effect, BioShock. And then within a year of doing that, I became a YouTuber. All right? So that really was a changing point in my life where I stopped being a competitive Street Fighter player. So what's happening is, now I become a YouTuber. And I was very respected in the Street Fighter community around the 2007-2008 time frame, and I quit. I just retired. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm too much pain. I just can't do it. I can't even get to tournaments. 2009 comes, and in 2009, Street Fighter 4 comes out. Now, I start covering Street Fighter 4, all right? I start playing a ton on my channels, and I start getting prominent on YouTube as a Street Fighter 4 person. In fact, at that time, it was me, it was Free1Up, The King Kindred, and maybe one or two other YouTubers who were prominently known for playing Street Fighter 4. At the time, it wasn't pro players. Pro players were not known for being Street Fighter 4 like on YouTube. No one even knew who they were. People preferred people with charisma, personality, and people who could talk to an audience. The pro community was not that. They were just a bunch of people playing the game, in a lot of cases shit talking each other. You know, it didn't exist. And that's at the time frame, that's why guys, admittedly, like Mike Ross and Gutex, got popular. They were charismatic. They were presentable to a camera. They were representative of a community with hype. People liked that. Were they the top tournament players at the time when they got started? No. They eventually became top tournament players, but they weren't well known at the beginning. They got known for their charisma. You see? So what ended up happening was I became a top tournament player. Excuse me. I became a top YouTuber for Street Fighter 4, but I wasn't a tournament player. I wasn't really going and actively trying to attend tournaments. I wasn't trying to do anything notable besides just make silly videos. I was doing Dan Madness series and shit and getting insane amounts of views. The Street Fighter community turned on me. And after the years that I had built respect and everyone admitted that I was a top player in Super Turbo and liked me as a tournament organizer, they resented the fact that I was getting popularity on YouTube when I wasn't a pro player. They were working their butts off trying to grind and win, and they were winning tournaments, and no one cared because I was the one who's getting all the views on their videos. For dumb video, admittedly, for dumb videos. This wasn't top quality shit. This was me dicking around and swearing at people online. So people didn't like that. They were upset with me that I was getting attention for Street Fighter and they weren't getting it because they were top tournament players, right? So that's when basically the whole community turned against me. Fuck. You had Mike Ross coming out and talking shit about me. I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck Mike Ross is. I never talked about this guy, right? So I don't know, where this is coming from or why they're hating on me, but that's what happened is, you had a situation where these people kind of turned against me because they definitely resented, that stuff. And, that was it. And since then, now it's like, I never existed. DSP never existed. And the funny part about it now is, I was not competitive in Street Fighter 4. I was not competitive in Street Fighter 5, right? So now you have two generations of gamers who I've never been in any kind of a tournament capacity. So to them, I don't exist. And so they'll take jabs at me. They'll insult me. Oh, yeah, why don't you talk more about your tournament placing 4th at EVO? That's not even all I ever did. I was more well known after that as a top player all over the country, traveling and placing everywhere I went, running tournaments. That's what I was known for, not necessarily the 4th place EVO placing. They want to erase a 4 to 5 year history to pretend like I was a one-time fluke so they can make fun of me and erase my legacy from the Street Fighter community. I don't care. I really don't. That's why I told you guys I don't want to be a part of that community because that's how they are. They're all about drama. They're all about talking shit. They're on each other's throats constantly. There's always shit going on over there. Why do you want to be a part of that shit, right? I would rather say, no, I want to be nothing to do with that shit. I'll play fighting games and I'll cover them, Great. And that's all I care about. Oh no, Phil played a beta and he happened to play someone who also was a notable Street Fighter player and they beat him. And I don't care. I don't play these games competitively. I haven't in over a decade. So I'm not going to be good at them. I just enjoy playing them. I like covering them, sharing some of my know-how and some of the knowledge from being an old school player back in the day. Some people like that. Some people don't. It's not a big deal if you do or don't. It's your own personal preference. But to say that I was never prominent and they just try to erase my legacy of anything I've ever done, it's a joke. It's called insane jealousy. It's called trying to change the past for your own personal benefit, you know, or to get a rise. Because again, I've become the person who's fun to make fun of online, right? They think that it's so fun. And whenever you take a jab at Darkside Phil, it's like a meme. Oh, you did it. You jabbed at Phil too today. Yeah, it's called being a child. It's the same as a bunch of kids on the schoolyard making fun of one person who they want to pick on, right? And everyone's, it's fun to pick on that person. The fuck's your problem, right? And the funny part is, it's all online. It's you know, why do you think? Because online community shit. The shit, you know, pick on person. Yeah, they're really going to do that in person to people, right? Yeah, right. These are people who only have these fucking balls online to do any of this. Most of them are anonymous people who don't know who the fuck they are anyway. No one will ever care. That's why they do it, right? You know, degrade the person online because you're a bitch. You know, you don't do nothing in person. You're never going to. You're just someone who wallows in online memes and shit. None of it matters, okay? Truth be told, I enjoyed my time in the competitive Street Fighter community. It was a very different time. Like I said, the pre-Street Fighter 4 time was all grassroots. It was about respect. It was about skill. Yes, there was definitely online bullshit with shit talk, because that's how it was back then. The only way to get notoriety was to talk shit and then try to back it up at a tournament. It was very hard to get noticed. But at the time, it was a different time. Today, now it's all about the money, all about the online clout and hype. No one cares about you. I don't care about your fucking online bullshit. Don't name drop me. You know, I tried to tweet someone last fall because they put up a post of their home arcade. And I was noticing, I was like, wow, you know, one day I actually used to aspire to have something awesome like this. I don't anymore. You know, times change. I'm older now. Oh, now they're going to insult me. Why are you insulting me? I didn't even insult you. I didn't say anything negative about you or your arcade or nothing. Why would you insult me? Oh, yeah, Mr. fucking PS1 Super Turbo. Who cares? Dude, what are you talking about? What does that have to do with your arcade that I'm complimenting you on? These people are shitheads, all right? So I don't want to be a part of that community. I don't. I'll play Street Fighter 6. I will enjoy it. I'll casually play it. I'll play people online. And that's probably the extent. I'll probably never go to an in-person tournament. I don't care to be a part of a toxic community where people are just scumbags for no reason, you know? And that's how it's become. It's sad. It's very different today than it used to be. But that's what happens when everything goes online and becomes online clout and shit. You get a bunch of little bitches just talking shit to each other in circles, and no one has any fucking balls. You know? Everyone's stabbing each other online. It's hilarious, right? Anyway, it is what it is. That's what happened, and that's why they try to erase me from the community, even though it's bullshit. They all, you know, everything. It's just like I say, it's selective remembrance, right? Everyone wants to remember things that are negative. No one wants to remember things that are positive, despite that they're all factually listed all over the internet. Interesting, huh? Okay, I got a couple shout-outs to do. Barely Legal gifted a membership, and it went to Lars Nootbar fan. I have no idea what a Lars Nootbar is, but thank you, Barely Legal. That gets us up to 89 memberships today, which means we are one membership away from the goal I was trying to reach. And I appreciate your support very much. That's going to be a record. If we hit 90, that'll be the most we've ever had. And if we hit 100, that's a cool milestone. But we're trying to hit 90 today. Thank you so much for that. And I received a tip, a $20 tip from 1 Minute Man. Thank you very much, 1 Minute Man. I appreciate that. Your usual support is always greatly appreciated, no matter where I'm streaming, no matter what content I'm putting out. 1 Minute Man is always there to consistently support it. I really appreciate that, man. So enjoy your animation. And let's get you up on the leaderboard here as the biggest tipper of the day so far. Again, guys, this is my main stream of the day. There will be gameplay later tonight, but this is my main stream. Thanks for watching. If you would like to support the stream in any way, simply giving it a like helps a lot. We're trying to hit 100 likes on every stream that I do. Super chat, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships, tips, all greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me. Let's continue on. The next question is from AJ Normal, who asked the following. With massively successful remakes of horror games like Dead Space and Resident Evil and even Silent Hill coming up, Is there an underappreciated horror game or franchise you'd like to see get the same treatment? Thanks, Phil. Love and positivity. You know what? There is a franchise I've always wanted to play and never had a chance because it's just not available in any. It's just not available in any medium that I can really play. There's a horror franchise that back in the day people used to talk about all the time. I used to see it in game magazines and everything, and I just don't see it anymore. And that game franchise is called Clock Tower, right? Clock Tower, I guess, used to be a really notable, scary horror franchise. Have I ever played it? No. Do I know what it even plays like? No. But it used to be all the time. People used to say, oh yeah, Resident Evil, Clock Tower, Silent Hill. Now, we still talk about Resident Evil and Silent Hill because they kept getting made. But Clock Tower, at some point, it just vanished. And how would you play Clock Tower on a modern console? You can't. They never ported these things. They're not on any on-demand, no subscription service or anything. They never did HD remakes or upgrades. I would love to see Clock Tower get remade. Even if it's not the originals, remake the franchise, like reimagine it for a modern audience. I would love to see what it's all about. I have no idea. Kid says you can on PS3. Kid at PS3 stopped production over a decade ago. You're talking 2 console gens back. It's not viable. For the modern person who's playing games, they have no access to Clock Tower, including me. I would love to play it. You cannot play it actively today. Okay? So that's my answer. Give me Clock Tower. I would love to try it out and play it in a modern setting, reimagined for a modern audience. Okay. Big Ol' Bean with the following question. Another channel. And these are all channel member questions, by the way. My girlfriend recently started her own YouTube channel. What's the best advice you could give someone who's starting off? As a longtime content creator, I look forward to your input. I give the same answer every time, but it takes a while. Usually like once a year, someone asks me this question. So I'll answer it again. Here's the thing. Today, it's very different. Back in the day when I started, the market was not saturated at all. There was ample opportunity to jump in and try something new or different. Today, 99% of stuff has been already done. All right? So it's very hard to do anything innovative or different. All right? What I would say is if you're someone who's getting into being a content creator, it depends on the kind of content that you're making. Now, in particular, you're saying that you didn't really specify what kind of content she's making. From the space that I come from, I would say gaming was my favorite thing. And of course, now I do React style content, hanging out with you guys, reviewing stuff. I like doing that too. What I would say is, if you're going to get into YouTube or content creation of any kind, start with something that you have passion for and you already like, so that while you're making that content, you're absolutely enjoying it. And here's what I mean by that. I know that there's people out there who basically say, I have the intention of becoming big on YouTube. I'm going to make some kind of a challenge channel. I'm only going to play Dark Souls with like these challenge runs, and I'm going to try to blow up doing it. Or I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm only going to play games on the hardest difficulty. I'm going to challenge myself to do speed runs and stuff like that. Okay? And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that kind of content. But people who jump into content with the distinct intention that this is going to be my occupation and I'm going to blow up doing it, you're setting yourself up to fail, in my opinion. Okay? What you need to do is you need to make something a fun hobby first. All right? And then, once it's your fun hobby and you're having fun with it and you're enjoying it, then see if you could turn that into something that could be more. Whether it's a profitable business or even just a side project that makes a couple bucks here or there. You understand what I'm saying? Too many people, I think, in this day, they look at oh my God, look at this YouTuber who has a million subs and all these members and a Twitch streamer with thousands of views, and they're raking in the dough. Look at the cheers are coming in, and they see the dollar signs. Like, I just want to do what I love and make money doing it. Most people don't get to do that in their lifetime. Okay? I have to reiterate that. Most people don't have that opportunity. Most people, sadly, they have to have a 9-to-5 grindy job. They have to work a bunch of multiple, part-time jobs they don't like just to make ends meet and to either support themselves or a family or whatever it may be. You're incredibly lucky if you get to do what you love. And for every success story that you see on YouTube or Twitch, there's going to be 10,000 failures. I mean that too. I sincerely mean that there's a ton of failures for every success. It's just a natural way of things. All right? And you have to go into that with that mindset that even though maybe I feel I'm passionate, I feel that I have something different to offer, something unique, I want to be successful doing it, it does not mean you will be. So if you're going to do a YouTube channel, if you're going to do a Twitch channel, And if you're going into it with the mindset of, hey, here's something I already have passion for. Here's something I love talking about, something I love doing. Let's say you do it. And let's say you have so much fun, it was worth it no matter what. Because even if you fail and you don't blow up and you don't get successful and it doesn't become a job, at least you had fun doing it. It didn't feel like it was a ton of work. It didn't feel like it was stress. It didn't feel like you put everything into it and now it failed and now you don't know what to do. Don't do that to yourself. Go into it with the intention that this will be a hobby, right? Do it on the side. Still hold down something else. That's what I did. I had an office job for 2.5 years when I was doing YouTube. I still had my office job. It was only when I got laid off that then I tried to turn YouTube into my job. I wouldn't recommend people going into it with that mindset, especially today with the oversaturation that's there. It would be a foolish endeavor to think that you're just going to jump in head first and you're going to become successful. And you're going to be able to maintain that. So do it as a fun little hobby side thing that you love, you have passion. And here's the thing. If you have passion for it, all right, you're going to essentially show that in the content. People are going to see the difference between someone who's just sitting here hoping to make a paycheck versus someone who actually loves what they do, right? People can notice that. People can tell the difference. They're not dumb, you know? You can see the shill versus the passion person, right? Notably, people who probably aren't rolling in dough. The small-time people, those are the people who love what they do. Everyone else out there who has the million subs and shit, probably they're just doing it to monetize, right? So approach it from that angle, and if your passion comes through, you will likely have a higher chance of success. I really feel the reason that I was successful back in the day is because my passion for games, even though I was constantly doing silly, stupid, over-the-top commentary and all of that, truly my passion for games came through in things like my game reviews and stuff like that. And people knew that, you know? So that's my take. You can disagree, but that's my best advice. Go into it as a casual thing. Treat it as a hobby. That's a fun thing, something you have passion for already. Hopefully that'll come through. People will catch on. It'll be good content for everyone, and they'll enjoy it, and then you'll be successful. If not, hey, at least it won't feel like you wasted your time, because guess what? You still had fun doing it, right? There you go. All right. Thank you for more contributions here. We had Silent Scoper as well as King Gabriel, who each became a member. And with that, it is official. We have topped 90 members here on the channel. It's the most we've ever had. We're at 91 now. So, I mean, since we hit it so early, obviously this will be a stretch goal. No, I'm not intending to hit 95 today, but I'm just saying, hey, thanks so much already for the support. We already have the most members we've ever had here on DSPReacts. Thank you for that. And thank you guys so much. Also, I received a $20 super chat from this, who says, do you know who Avoiding the Puddle or Eris is? I know very, 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 very little about them. This is a person who I know is known in the Tekken community. And that's really why I don't know that much about them, because they're primarily just Tekken, and that's it. You know, that's about it. You know, all I know, the only involvement I ever had with that person was over a decade ago. They were trying to do these reality shows in regards to everything. They had the Ultimate Gamer, they had the Tester, and then there was one that they were doing for a fighting game community. And the guy basically got exposed because he was being toxic to the female who was part of the show. And she came out publicly complaining that this guy was constantly like harassing her, bullying her behind the scenes, and she didn't appreciate that. She was the only woman on the show and felt that it was completely unfair treatment. And there was this big divide in the community that some people supported Eris and some people didn't. I should talk to Eris. Why? I have no idea. At the time, I was just stupid. This is over a decade ago. At the time, I had a big mouth, and I always wanted to interject myself into situations for no reason. And I think it was dumb. Now I look back, and I'm like, I didn't really know the situation. I don't know what happened. I should have kept my mouth shut. But back then, I was stupid. And I wanted to always be causing controversy so people would know who I was, you know? And at the time, I said and did stupid, uneducated things. At this point, I have absolutely no idea at all what the truth of the matter was. To my knowledge, he's still part of a prominent part of the fighting game community. So, obviously, he didn't get canceled. Then again, 10 years ago, getting canceled wasn't a thing. So, that's about all I know. Like, literally, that's about all I know. And I know nothing about the guy at all outside of that. So, there you go. Okay, thank you for the $20 tip. Now, excuse me. Continuing on with more member questions. By the way, we'll split the part in about 10 minutes, just so everybody knows, okay? So, Sith Alchemist asks the following. Have you ever played an MMORPG Why do you think even the biggest ones like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, Black Desert Online, and Elder Scrolls Online have been slowly dying for the past 10 years, and they're essentially now on life support, surviving from each expansion to the next? I played MMOs back in the day. I played one of the original biggest ones, EverQuest 1. I tried playing EverQuest 2, and it never ran well on my computer, so I stopped and I've never played it significantly. I also played World of Warcraft twice, when it launched, and then a couple years later. And then I played City of Heroes and City of Villains. And that's really it. I never really got into many others. I did play Final Fantasy 11 for a while with some friends in a PC version as well. When it first released, before it was even a console game, I played it only on PC. So that's it. And then after that time frame, I stopped playing them. You know, when I became a YouTuber, that was kind of the end of that. I became a console gamer, essentially. MMOs take so much time investment and so much, co-op gameplay to really be viable that I really didn't see a way to make it viable for a YouTube audience. I did try MMOs years later, many years ago. I tried doing MMO events, like, I'll play World of Warcraft, and all that happened was trolls would show up and ruin it, and make it so that was unplayable. So I just never really tried. I think today, if I tried an MMO, the same thing would happen. No matter what MMO it would be that I played, people would come and harass me. So back in the day, I did play them. And here's the thing. I get it. I totally understand the social aspect of how that could make an MMO so awesome. MMOs have this ability to become these amazing co-op experiences with all kinds of camaraderie and conversation. And, I remember joining, a group of people who were, like, two of them were my coworkers and other people who were their friends playing World of Warcraft, and I would join and help them out as an extra body. I wasn't that good at it, but I was an extra body helping them out, which was fun. And it was fun to have that, let's talk, let's chat, let's joke, let's have a good time together, or whatever. It was actually quite nice to have that. I get it, but over time, I just kind of fell out of love with them, and I wanted to play other kinds of games. More console was more my style. Now, why would they have been failing the last 10 years? The only thing I can think of, all right, is that essentially people are finding those same experiences elsewhere. But where are they finding them? Maybe now, instead of an MMO, like a classic MMO that's an RPG style on a PC, maybe people are migrating over to games like Destiny 2, right? Or one of the Tom Clancy shooters, or, any of these, The Division, right? Any of these that have been direct competition for that style, I don't know. That's all I can think of. Honestly, I don't know why they would be on the decline. I still think they still have that whole social aspect to them that makes them prominent and different from other styles of online gaming. So I don't think MMOs are ever going to go away completely, but why would they be on the decline? It very well could be for reasons like that. I'm not sure. Okay, let's continue on. Add the Gamer asks, if you could choose a series of games for every single game in the series to have a complete remake, which game series would you choose? I would choose, number 1, Infamous, and number 2, BioShock. All right, now BioShock is over 10 years old. Even BioShock Infinite is over 10 years old. Now would be a cool time for them to remake those with modern graphics, better gameplay elements. The story's fine. You don't even need to redo the story. All you can do is redo graphics and gameplay elements and make them feel more modernized. And I think that it would be awesome to have like a BioShock trilogy. My God, please redo BioShock 2. That game's gameplay was shit. I didn't like it at all. It would be great if they redid that and retooled it and made it more modern and better, more polished. But Infamous, seriously, great game franchise, amazing story, great voice acting. The graphics for the time were outstanding. Even the gameplay kind of holds up. And it's sad to see that those Infamous games have been completely forgotten, as if they don't exist. You had Infamous 1 and 2 on PS3, and Infamous Second Son on PS4, and they just ended and went. And now no one talks about Cole McGrath. No one talks about those games anymore. And they were like big time, giant hits. And I don't know what happened, but I would absolutely like to see a return for Infamous. So those would be the two that I would pick. Okay. One more question, then we'll split the part. Toy2 Legacy asks, what are your thoughts on the paranormal? Have you ever had experiences with ghosts or UFOs, and do you think the government is controlled by a separate evil entity like the Illuminati? Well, everyone knows the government is controlled by the Illuminati. That's given. We don't even have to question that, okay? But as for the paranormal, all right, I've never had a paranormal experience in my life, and therefore, since I haven't, I don't have anything that would make me think that it's real. At the same time, I'm the kind of person that keeps an open mind, all right? I had one time when I was a kid. Now, I was just a kid, all right? And I remember it was the middle of the night, and I used to sleep upstairs in a bedroom, you know, across the hall. Was it across the hallway from my parents? It was. My parents would sleep. Actually, now I'm trying to remember. At this point, did my parents sleep in the hallway across, or did they sleep downstairs? Because my parents have had two different bedrooms. They moved around over the years. And I can't remember if they were sleeping downstairs or across the hallway at this point. All right? But anyway, so I remember being asleep and waking up. And I was a young kid. Okay? I was probably, I don't know if I was young enough to be in a crib, but I was a young kid. And I remember waking up and looking into the hallway, hearing a noise in the hallway. And I looked in the hallway and I saw a silhouette, just a shadow, that looked exactly like the shadow of my uncle. He's a portly guy, so his body was big, chubby. Glasses, silhouette of glasses, like reflecting. You know, you can see shadow of glasses protruding from his face. Even his hairstyle, like it looked exactly like my uncle. And it freaked me out because my uncle's not in the house. And I saw the silhouette walking through the hallway, just the shadow passing through the hallway. All right? And that's all I heard. And I was scared shitless. Like, my heart stopped. I still remember it to this day. My heart stopped. And I was like, oh my God. So I got so scared. At first, I didn't want to scream because I was afraid if there was something in the house that was going to come after me. I said, nah, I have to. So I started screaming and called my parents. And my dad came running up. What happened? I explained. I was crying. And he says, all right, I'm going to check the whole house. And he did. He went all around the house checking. There was nothing in the house. He's like, oh, no, there's nothing here. You must have seen things. Now, was it a lucid dream where I was half asleep and in my brain just started thinking about my uncle and somehow it turned a shadow on the wall that looked like my uncle? I don't know, right? The thing was, I know for a fact, the way our house was laid out, in the hallway, upstairs hallway, there was a window that faced forward to the street. And when cars would drive by with their headlights on at night, the headlights would sometimes, like, you'd see them move by and they would go around the shade because my parents didn't have blinds. They had just like a pull down shade. So you would have little slits on the side of the shade and the headlights would kind of like go by as the car drove by. So maybe it just created this shadow effect in the hallway that made it look like a silhouette walking down the hallway and it wasn't. I don't know. But it scared the shit out of me. I still remember that to this day. I remember it in my head, you know. But that's really the only thing that ever I think I saw or heard that would make me think maybe there's something paranormal. Outside of that, no. So here's the thing. I am not going to dismiss the possibility that there could be something paranormal out there. I feel like that would be very ignorant, right? To say, oh, there's absolutely nothing paranormal out there, right? No, you don't do that. You don't say that. Maybe there is. But I've never experienced anything. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that in my experience, I've never had it. So maybe other people have experienced it. And if that's happened, maybe that's why they believe it, right? But I'm open-minded. And, you know, maybe one day I will see something. I mean, I'm about to be 41 years old, and I haven't seen anything yet. But I think that's kind of closed-minded to just shut your mind off. I've never seen it, so it doesn't exist. I mean, if that was the case, science wouldn't exist. Because science is all experimenting with things you've never really seen or seen the result before. And then all of a sudden, you get a result you didn't intend. Wow, we just got a new thing. We learned something new about science, right? So it's kind of the same deal. Maybe there is something out there. All right? There you go. By the way, K-Styles1998 re-upped his membership at the Ultra level today. He says Dead Island 2 has a release date of April 20th. I'm aware of that. I believe I do have that in my gaming schedule. And for those interested, in 1 week's time, I'm going to be doing a special event, all right here on the channel. That is my birthday event. Now, actually, that event will likely be mostly over on DSP Gaming. Portions of the event may actually be here. We'll see. But that event, we're going to actually go through the game schedule. And during that game schedule segment, what we're going to do is we're going to, figure out what games I'm interested in playing and set them out for the release dates so that we can actually check them out and say, oh, this is what I'm definitely interested in. People can look forward to it. Right now, I haven't done that since like January. Okay. So in 1 week's time, it's my birthday celebration event, a little marathon. And that's one of the segments we're going to do is go through the games and we'll set them in stone, which ones I'm interested in. Maybe Dead Island 2 is one. Maybe it's not. I guess we'll have to see. Okay. All right. So guys, remember what I say. Here's how it works here now on DSP Reacts. If you're here live, thanks for being here live. I hope you're enjoying the show, and thanks to those who have supported it so far. If you're watching on demand, these videos will be coming out one a day for the next several days. However, if you become a member, you can watch the archive stream immediately. So if you're considering, I want to see all this stuff archived right away, I don't want to wait, becoming a member will give you that opportunity So please consider it. Thanks to those who've already supported. I'm going to split the part here. There'll likely be 2 more parts before the end of the show, so thanks for that. For those watching here live, there's just going to be a short break. But if you're watching on demand, just look for parts 2 and 3. Okay, guys, thank you so very much, and I will see you in just a bit.